All right, guys, what's up? So, we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to start doing some new stuff here. We're going to start doing some reaction videos to all sorts of things. It could pretty much be anything. So, if you have anything you want us to react to, send the links on my TikTok, share it to me, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, all my social media. And by the way, please subscribe. It would help us out a bunch. So basically, what we're going to be doing, my wife and I, we love Charlotte Dobre. So she does a lot of "Am I the asshole? Am I overreacting?" A lot of wedding drama, best friend drama, family drama, all that type of stuff. And my wife was like, "You do social media, you should do some stuff like that." So I was like, "Hey, why not? It'd be fun to do. Do something a little different than just video game clips all the time." So my wife sent me 3 stories, and those are what we're going to do today. I haven't read them yet. I know the titles, but I haven't read the actual stories yet. So we're going to get into the first one. Let me bring this one up here. All right. So the first one she sent me is, "Am I the a-hole for telling my soon-to-be wife that I am not banning my ex from our wedding because we are family?" That sounds effing gross. Just going by the title. Okay, so it says, "I was dating Amanda for around a year when I was a junior in high school. I'm guessing it's supposed to say our relationship ended on a decent note. We just realized we weren't a right fit and we moved on." Okay, that happens. I've had that happen plenty of times, just not good together. "When I was in college, my mom started to date seriously. She had one on and off while I was growing up, but nothing serious." Okay. "She wanted to invite him to meet me, and it is Amanda's dad." Oh boy. "Amanda and I talked and concluded it was a little awkward, but our parents seemed happy. They got married soon after we both finished college, and Amanda is technically my stepsister now." Okay, I see where the title's going now. Okay, it's not no incest situation. That's what I was a little worried about in the beginning. Okay, "We moved past the awkward stage, and we are good friends. I see her at all family events, and she is in the sibling chat at this point. I am going to marry Jenny next spring, and invites are going out soon. She knows all about Amanda and isn't happy about it." Why? "She wants to not invite Amanda to the wedding because she is my ex." Oh, okay. "I told her she's my family now and not just my ex. We got into a big argument and she doesn't want Amanda there." I mean, on one hand, I can kind of understand that. But at the same time, she is technically family now. And like, you were exes, things didn't work out, you moved on, but like, she is legally family now. But then again, I can also understand their partner's point of view. That's a tough one. "I keep telling her no because I know it will cause drama. And if Amanda isn't invited, then my mom's husband probably won't come, and it's going to put my mom in a weird spot." Also understandable. "Also, I dated her in high school, and we are now in our late 20s, so I find the whole thing silly." Me too. I mean, I understand it's your ex, but she is legally family now. Um, and I also find it immature on Jenny's side, especially since Amanda didn't do anything wrong. Ooh, that's that's a tough one because I can kind of understand it from both points of view. I'll be honest, I don't think you're the a-hole. Because, I mean, yeah, you dated, but she's family now, like, legally. You know, she's just coming to the wedding, but I mean, I also at the same time, like I said, get the your partner's point of view, but if the family member really didn't do anything wrong just because they were technically your ex, I mean, that's not really, I don't know. I don't think you're the a-hole in that one. Let's look at the comments here. Um, so impressive moments 786. Not the a-hole. You find it silly because it is silly. Your partner is being very dramatic and a bit weird. Okay. Let's see. Stealthy Giggle. I like that name. Not inviting one member of the family to avoid awkwardness usually creates even more awkwardness. Very true. Someone even put awkwardness intensifies. Oh, yeah, I'd have to say not the a-hole in that situation. Like, I can understand your partner's point of view, but at the same time, your ex didn't do you wrong. She's legally family now. Like, I kind of do find the whole situation just a little silly. That's just my opinion. Y'all can come for me if you want. I don't care. But all right. So we'll get to the next one here. Here we go. On to the second story. Okay, so here's the second one the wife found for me. So I can just already tell this is going to be a doozy from the title. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pretend I was my mom when my grandmother thought I was? I read the first sentence as I was reading that title and I'm already not liking it. I hope it proves me wrong, but... So, my grandmother is 89 and has dementia. Some days she remembers almost everything, and other days she barely knows where she is. Oh, I am so sorry. That's a tough thing to go through. Like, I've never personally experienced that with family members, but I've had a lot of friends and other family members who have witnessed people go through that, and that's, from what I've heard, it's not pleasant. So my heart goes out to any one of you who are going through that with your family members, sincerely. So it continues. We've always been really close. So I visit her a few times a week and usually take her to appointments if no one else can. Well, that's very kind of you. That's awesome. My family has this unspoken rule that you never correct grandma when she's confused. That's a tough one, but I get it. That's a tough one. If she asks where someone is, even though they passed away years ago, everyone just gives her an answer that keeps her calm. I understand why, and I never had a problem with it. Like I said, that's a tough one because I've never experienced this, so I'm not... Because, like, I have my opinion, like, my personal opinion, like, I get trying to keep the person calm. I understand that. You don't want them to stress themselves out in that time and everything. Like, I understand that, but at the same time, like, what's the best way? I'm trying to think of... To try and keep their memory going, I guess would be the best way to put it, like, to try and help remind them to keep their memory going. And to not just... I mean, I know they're, what they're going through is making them think different things, but, obviously if, it goes awry, you can do things to calm it down, but, so it's like, I kind of get it from Because like I said, I've never experienced this, but okay, so it continues. A few months ago, she started mistaking me for my mom who passed away several years ago. Oof. Wow. Damn it, baby. I'm yelling at her. She's over there. She's right there. Send me this. Oh, man. She's got to send me the heart-wrenching ones. Ah, my chair's bouncy, by the way. Lighten the mood a little bit. It also has a reclining footrest. Okay. At first, I went along with it because everyone else said it was the kind thing to do. I get that. I understand that, but that she started opening up about things she had clearly carried for decades. Huh. She would apologize for mistakes she made when my mom was growing up. She would cry and tell me how much she wished she could have one more chance to make things right. Damn. My wife knows I'm emotional too. Nah, I love emotional stuff though. Like that, that's heartbreaking but sweet at the same time. And she says, every time it happened, I felt awful because she wasn't talking to me. She thought she was talking to her daughter. Ugh. Wow. I mentioned it to one of the nurses at her memory clinic and asked if I was doing the right thing. She told me there isn't one perfect approach, but that it's okay to gently remind someone who you are if it doesn't upset them. See, that's the tricky thing with things like dementia and Alzheimer's. From what I heard, like sometimes even like just like the slightest discrepancy can trigger a reaction, and like I personally wouldn't even know what to do in that situation. I've never gone through that, like I said. That's a tough one. She says, after that, whenever Grandma called me by my mom's name, I'd smile and say, "It's actually me, Grandma. I'm your granddaughter." Okay, so she's trying to gently bring up the mistake or the misunderstanding, however you want to put it. Most of the time, she'd look at me a few seconds, smile, squeeze my hand, and we'd keep talking like nothing happened. Okay, so it didn't go awry or anything. I mean, so far. So I mean that's good at least. At least it kept on the lighthearted path, I guess you could say. And then she says, my family found out I wasn't pretending anymore and they were furious. Okay, well, there's no reason for them to be furious if you're trying to help her, like nothing bad happened. Like my aunt said I was taking away one of the few things that made Grandma happy. My cousin said I was making visits harder because now Grandma would sometimes look confused for a minute before moving on. They all thought I should just keep playing along because it was easier. Well, I mean, sometimes the truth isn't always easy. I mean, like we've all learned that in life. The truth isn't always easy. There's some times I can be a butthead, and my wife calls me out and like, it may be hard to hear, but it's the truth. I may not want to hear it, but it's something I need to hear. And, granted, this isn't the same type of situation, but, she's just, gently giving her grandma a reminder, like, hey, no, it's not this person, it's me, and they smile and they keep talking, they move along like nothing happened. And, even if she doesn't realize it, like, it's not causing a trigger or a reaction. Like, it's not triggering a reaction, I should say. So she said, everything came to head at her birthday dinner. She looked at me, smiled, and called me by my mom's name. I quietly said, no, Grandma, it's me. She stared at me for a few seconds, smiled, said my actual name, and reached over to hold my hand. Okay, well, see, that's nice. So, like, it took her a few seconds, but she realized it once, you brought the subject to light. It only lasted a minute before the confusion came back. But for that 1 minute, she knew exactly who I was. Okay, well, that has to be a confusing time for her, but that's, at least in that moment, like, this is a tough one. Wow. I thought everyone would be happy to see that moment. Instead, my aunt started crying and told me I had ruined the evening. You didn't ruin anything. You're trying to help your grandma. Like, you're trying to help her live a real life and not a fake reality. Personally, I don't think you're the a-hole so far, unless it changes dramatically here. A couple relatives agreed, and now they think I shouldn't visit Grandma alone because they believe I'm making things worse. I honestly wasn't trying to prove a point or make anyone feel bad. I just couldn't shake the feeling that pretending to be my mom during these emotional conversations wasn't right anymore. Now my family thinks I'm selfish and cruel. Am I the a-hole? Personally, I don't think you're the a-hole, because you were trying to do right by your grandmother, and I respect that. You were trying to have her live a true version of her life and not a fake reality like your other family members were trying to have her. And you were doing it in a way where it wasn't triggering anything. You were being respectful, you were loving, you were caring, you were compassionate. Like, you weren't doing it in a way that was like causing an aggressive reaction. Because from what I heard, some people can be like that when they're going through dementia and Alzheimer's and things like that. And from what I see, unless there's more to the story, unless there's an update, which I don't see any updates. I see some comments here. We'll read through the comments in a second. I don't see no updates, but from what I'm seeing, you're not the a-hole. So first comment says, looks like from Tara Lynn, not the a-hole as long as your grandma continues to take it well. Exactly what I was saying. Like, she's taking it well. Like, there's nothing triggering like an aggressive reaction or anything like that. Like, it's not upsetting her. I would say that even though she isn't talking to her living daughter, saying those things out loud is a good thing for grandma, and would say your mom is absolutely listening from somewhere. Yeah, I can agree with that. I can appreciate that. And OP says, I really appreciate you saying that. It felt weird carrying those private conversations meant for my mom. Yeah, that would make me feel weird as well. I will admit, trying to, like, if something like that happened, trying to pretend like I was my dad or something, carrying on a conversation with a relative who was about to pass or whatever. And continues, but thinking of it as a way for grandma to get closure and believing my mom hears it makes so much sense. I definitely keeping her comfort first. So, but yeah, personally, I don't think you're the a-hole in this one either. So hey, that's 2, not the a-holes. That was 4, but yeah, we'll go 2. I apparently can't count as well as can't read. Okay, so on to video number 3. Where's the 3? All right, here we go. Sorry. All right. This is the third and last one my wife sent me. Am I the a-hole for choosing to live with my partner's family during my med school gap year to reduce financial stress when it's against my family's wishes? That's a mouthful. All right, let's get into this. I, 24 female, Have been in a relationship with my boyfriend, 23 male, for 2 years. Okay, decent amount of time. We currently live together and have talked seriously about marriage when he finishes law school. I love his family, and I think his parents have started to really see me as their daughter-in-law. That's awesome. That's good to hear. That's really cool. You don't get a lot of that these days. I see a lot of family drama way too much, and it blows my mind sometimes. So that's awesome to hear for you. So despite the fact that I just finished my MS a couple years ago, not sure what that is. I'm not big on medical degrees. Let me do my research. Let's see. From what I'm seeing, looks like Masters of Science degree. Okay, so Masters of Science degree a couple months ago, I've decided to pursue medical school as my next goal. I found a job in Long Island that will give me the clinical hours I need, though it only pays $60,000. Okay, it's still not terrible. Oh, it's in Long Island. Oh, it's in New York. Oh. Nothing against New York, but I know you're a little expensive. So 60,000 in New York. Okay? I get that now. I'm planning to move up there next month. I realized the cost of living there is going to be very high. Yep, like I just said. And the cheapest apartment I could find will be $1,600 a month. Ooh, $1,600 a month. Wow, just for you. Or wait, no, you and your boyfriend. Or did it? Or no, it doesn't say your boyfriend. Does it say your boyfriend's moving in? Okay, well, either way, that's still an expensive apartment. And a long driving commute to work on the LIE. Not 100% sure what that is. I'm not familiar with New York. I'm in Pennsylvania, so I'm not. I don't know those terms for New York. Apologies, New Yorkers. On top of this, I will need to finance a car and MCAT study materials. I'm assuming, obviously, those are for the medical degree. And eventually medical school application fees. Okay. Outside of work, I will be spending all of my time volunteering at a hospital or studying for the MCAT. It's very overwhelming to think about. Yeah, I'd be pretty overwhelmed in that situation too. Holy cow. Okay, and here we go. Okay, my partner will not be moving with me. Okay. Okay, so it is just an apartment, so it's probably just a one-bedroom apartment. One-bedroom apartment for $1,600, damn. So he will not be moving with me because the aforementioned law school, but his parents actually live in Long Island, a very short distance away from my work. When they heard about my situation, they offered to let me stay in one of their guest rooms for the coming months, at least until I take the MCAT. They said they just want me to focus on my medical school resume and not stress out too much about finances for the coming period. Okay, well, that's nice. That's kind of them. And they said I should save my money for applications. My partner assured me that he didn't ask them to offer this and that it was 100% their suggestion. He also was completely on board with the plan. Okay, well, that seems like a good situation. I'm kind of confused on the title now. At first, I was really excited about this offer. However, I then called my parents and told them about it. My parents like my boyfriend a lot and have a good relationship with me, though I don't see them that much anymore because we live on opposite coasts. Okay, that definitely sucks, especially when you're not able to see family like that. Oh, wait, I kind of see where this is going. Sounds like a guilt trip situation, possibly. We'll keep reading. To me, it sounds like a guilt trip situation. They have also never met my boyfriend's family because of that. They were appalled that I was even considering their offer. They said that 24 is too old to be relying on charity and that it was time that I started adulting and paying a landlord. What did I tell you? guilt trip situation. Just because you help somebody, it's not freaking charity. We've all needed help at some point in time. That doesn't make it charity. Okay, so sorry, I'm going to go on a rant if I continue. So we're just going to continue the story. So she continues, it was also important to them that I paid my own rent and took out loans for my education when I was a student. And they also said there was no way they would allow me to live with them for free in my mid-20s, even if I was working close by. In some ways I understand that, but in some ways I don't. One thing my parents did, which I'm glad they did, when I lived at home and once I had a stable full-time job and I was, legally an adult, they charged me I think it was like $200 a month to pay rent, which, I'm living there. I'm going to obviously help out somewhat, whether it's, putting some towards electricity or internet or food or whatever. That's what we tell our son too, feel free to move out whenever you want, but if you're going to stay here, at least once you have a stable job, just help out a little bit, whether it's groceries or whatever, we're not going to charge you $1,600 to live here, Damn, that price on that apartment, that still boggles my mind. Oh, man. Okay. It says, they raised me believing adulthood means supporting yourself, which, yes, but everybody needs help every now and again. And if you got family like that, who needs enemies? That's not the worst family I've ever heard of, but still. Not even trying to be there for your kid. It is very important to them that I am independent and living off my own salary. Yes, I can agree on that, but like I said, everybody needs help from time to time. The world's getting even rougher than it used to be. It's always been rough, but especially with inflation and everything, and with wages not going up to to equal the cost of living. I get needing the help. So so far to me, you're not the a-hole. They said I'll be making more than enough to finance my own life. I'm now in a position where I feel like I have to choose between financial security or making my family lose all respect for me. Okay. I can understand that. That's definitely a tough choice. While my parents had never been financially supportive of my endeavors, they've always had my back emotionally and mentally. Okay. So not financially supportive, but have still, at least for the most part, been there for you. Yes, we should be able to live on our own, but, like I said, these are some trying times, for a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. And she continues, I know as their only child, they love me deeply. Am I the a-hole if I disrespect my parents' wishes and choose to accept my in-laws' offer? Personally, I don't think you are. Because you flat out said they care about you as if you were their own daughter. So they're not doing it just to gain something. Now if in the future they were trying to gain something from it, then that wouldn't really change if you were the a-hole though, but I understand trying to respect your parents. We all want to try to do that, especially if we have really good parents. That's totally understandable. I get where you're coming from. But personally, I don't think you're the a-hole. Especially since, one, you didn't ask. Your boyfriend didn't provoke them to do that. They just offered it on their own. And yeah, it'll benefit you. You can save up money. You know, you won't have to be paying $1,600 a freaking month for a one-bedroom apartment. I mean, it didn't say the bedroom or bath count, but still, I'm assuming since it's just you, it's probably just a one bedroom. You're not going to get like a 4-bedroom house for one person. So, I mean, all in all, I would have to say with everything you've given in the story here, I would have to say you're not the a-hole. So your first commenter here, the world for a 20-year-old is now vastly different to when your parents were younger. Exactly what I was saying. Take the offer. I would take the offer too in this time. You know, if my parents were like, hey, come live with us rent free and, you know, like save up money so you can, you know, get a new place or whatever. And that's actually what my parents did before. Like, we didn't have to pay them rent or nothing. You know, we were in between apartments. I was in between jobs. And, you know, we lived with them and I got a new job, saved up money until me, my wife, and my son were able to get a new place. And, you know, like, there were some trying times, you know, we butted heads here and there, but, you know, like, when you're close to each other for that, like, all the time, you know, that's going to happen occasionally, but, you know, we're still in good standing and everything, you know, and, you know, I appreciate that they did that for us. So I would take the offer. I don't think you're the a-hole. Another comment, AQ. Your family sounds jealous that you're being helped and they're not the ones doing it. Ooh. That could be it. Maybe it's, yeah. And then they also said not the a-hole. Yeah, I agree with that. Now that I think about it, that it could just be a little jealousy on their end. They're not the ones helping you do it, so they don't want you to take the help from somebody else. They don't get the credit. I mean, but granted, from what you said, your family sounds nice, though. So I mean, every family has its quirks, but overall, I'd have to say you're not the a-hole. But all right, guys. I know this was only my first time doing the reaction videos. I'm sorry I was a little rambly. I was kind of just doing this authentically. I didn't want to read everything beforehand, so apologies for the stumbling. But if you enjoyed this video, like, leave a comment, and subscribe. It will definitely help out the family. And we will be coming out with more, and not sure if it's going to happen, but the wifey possibly said she might join me for another reaction video tomorrow. So we'll see if we do one together tomorrow. But overall, guys, I hope you have a blessed day, and I hope you all stay safe. And we will be coming out with more soon. Love you guys.